Hello, welcome to the Wooden Butterfly. Today we are styling the built-ins and the mantle that I built in the last two videos. I knew the style that I was looking for, but I just didn't know how I was going to get there. So I started doing some research. And doing that research, I found several tips that I think will help you as well. So I'm going to share 5 tips with you today that will help you style your home that best represents your family. Some of the research that I did was watching several different interior designers. I watched several different tips on how to style mantles and how to style bookshelves. I read several blogs, as well as I kept going back to this one particular channel that I've loved for a very long time, and that's Homeworthy. And what I really love about their channel is they take you through actual homes. So these are the actual interior designers' homes, or the bloggers' homes. So you can see how they actually live. I know everything was cleaned up for the camera, but you can see how each home really represents each individual person, whether it be through the colors that they use or non-color, or the textures, or the items that were in the home. They all had a story, and they all meant something. So that is what I really wanted to recreate. I also wanted to recreate symmetry, because if you remember back in the other videos, I talked about symmetry a lot because my ceiling is wonky right here. I'm trying to create symmetry not only with the shelves being at the same levels, but also with the items that I put on those shelves. The first thing that you're going to want to do if you are not starting from scratch like me is you're going to want to remove everything off of those shelves. Give everything a good cleaning, and then kind of sort through the items that you have and see which items you want to put back, as well as start shopping your home. Then you are going to go out, and then you would start looking for pieces. And as I have been putting this together, I've noticed that I put some things together and then I've been sitting on it. So it's kind of growing with me, and I feel like it's going to continue to grow with me as, time goes on. As I might think, geez, I would like something just a little bit different over here, or maybe just something slightly different over there, or we take a different trip. You never know, right? So let's jump into the first tip. That is add lighting. This is a super easy thing that you can do, and it adds depth, it creates warmth, and it creates the ambiance. So whether you keep the lights super bright or you dim them down a bit, it creates the mood in your space. It also just takes those built-ins to the next level to give you a little more upscale look. And it's actually very inexpensive. I actually picked these up on Amazon, and they are rechargeable. So there's no wires. I don't have to have an electrician come in and wire anything. I just need to put them up. These actually, I don't even need screws. They have stickies on them. You just stick the stickies and plop them up there. Easy peasy. The first thing that I did is I actually installed the light, the top light, on the other bookshelf, because that is the lowest end, and I wanted it to go as high as I possibly could get it. So I measured from the bottom of that shelf, because I know both shelves are even, to the bottom of where the light sat. And so I want to put the light at that same level over here to, again, create that symmetry. So that was 14 3/4. So I grabbed a piece of my granddaughter's chalk, and I'm going to measure first side to side to get my center. So this Amazon light is rechargeable. So the first thing you're going to want to do is hook up the USB-C. It came with a cord. Put it into a charging box and charge them up. The second thing you want to do is add the screw. It goes in right here. So then this is the mounting plate, and it's going to hook up underneath there like that. Just mark that. It on for 15 minutes, 30 minutes, or an hour, and so you can time them. You can also up the brightness or bring it back down and turn them on or turn them off. Now the tricky part is they each have a remote. So I learned that you gotta make sure you have the right one aimed at the right time, because I was turning one off when I turned the other one on. It was crazy. Anyhow, so these just have little adhesive backing right here. You're just gonna peel these off, and I wanted them centered. So I am just actually gonna turn this on because you can't, it's dark over here. Isn't that awesome? The second tip is to have a cohesive color palette. What I mean by that is while I'm creating the style on these bookshelves, if it has a completely different color palette than anything else in my home, and especially anything in adjacent rooms, I have a semi-open floor plan. So if the colors that I'm using in this room are not repeated throughout in several rooms, then there wouldn't be that cohesiveness. Here is my color palette. I have the teal, I have the gold tones, and I have the red. And I know most of you are thinking, what? Like, that's absurd. But please understand that the other thing that I learned is that it's not the exact color repeated throughout your home or in those adjacent spaces. It's varying tones of that color. So because I have that super deep teal in this room, but my kitchen has actually a lighter form of that. If you're going to be using that gold tones, they can be in the gold metal tones. They can be in a yellow, which my kitchen has more of a yellow. So it's a little bit brighter, but it's all still in the same color palette. And the same thing goes with reds. You can actually veer down into some pinks as well. Just keep in mind that you want to keep the same tone. So if it's a warm tone gold, you want to keep it warm. I know all yellows are warm, but there are some that will veer a little more cool toned. So you want to have, those reds and those pinks, you want to keep them more of a warm toned red and pink, and not veer towards that purple, because then we're getting too cool. Using that cohesive color palette, you also can create that symmetry with those items. So I went down to Lowe's and I found they had actually too many options. I shouldn't say too many, but I was looking for something gold because I'm adding the brass and the gold. Remember, my color palette is the gold, the red, and the teal. Found these, and I thought they were great because I thought they have a slight vintage feel with a very modern look. And I just went with round. I was going to go with poles, but I thought with all the other that is going to be going on up here, I thought keeping it simple would just be better. And I'm actually not even going to fill in the second hole because, like I said, I'm rebuilding these doors. So tip number 3 is to add items that mean something uniquely to your family. For example, they could be items that have, like these books, these old carpentry books that were passed down from my husband's grandfather. My husband is a carpenter, so this is very, very sentimental to him. Or items that you picked up along a trip that you may have taken. This is those beautiful doors in Puerto Rico from my trip last summer. Or items that mean something particular to your family. We live in Florida and we go to the beach often. So a representation of a little bit of beach or coastal is added throughout this entire space. So I'm going to be starting at the top and kind of working my way down. And I already have one shelf already done. So I'm just going to be mimicking some of what I did over there. And I'll give you a shot of both sides after I'm all done. And I'll give you the stories behind what each of those. So here we are. The lanterns on top have that hint of coastal, but they are also, the one on the right actually was lanterns that we made for my oldest son's wedding. And then you come down to the second shelf, and those pictures are, like I said in the beginning, are of the doors in Puerto Rico. They're also bright and colorful. And they add, you notice there's the blue tones, green tones, pink, and yellow, which all go with my color palette. And then the 3 glass cylinders, which where's the third one? I gotta put that back up there. The 3 glass cylinders were actually from my son's wedding. And then the bamboo tray underneath is something thrifted. And the books are items that I had. And then coming down here, of course, the electronic picture frame of there's my little sweet little grandson. And on the right is that hint of coastal theme. The left, again, those 3 glass jars filled with the shells that we collect from the beach. And in the back, I'm going to get up close a little bit. In the back is actually, this is a picture that my grandfather made. My mother's father, that is, he did this type of art, which is called marquetry, where he took each individual piece of wood, veneer, and he would cut them out individually. He would take like a postcard and then enlarge it and blow it up and then cut each piece to shade the entire picture. And this one is actually a fisherman, and that is one that was given to us because my husband loves to fish. So now on this side is the other 2 lanterns on the left that were from my son's wedding that we built. And then on the right is that thrifted lantern that I got at the thrift store. and the books from my husband's grandfather. And then we're gonna move on down. And the picture in the back my son gave me for Christmas. We actually were in Panama City in a parking lot of the mall, and the sun was setting, and he snapped that picture, and then he sent it away to Google, and they printed it on a canvas. Isn't it beautiful? And then, of course, the repeating of the glass cylinders and the bamboo tray. And then more books on the right. And in the middle, I know you're probably thinking, why are you saving rocks? That's a little odd, but we actually don't have rocks here in Florida. So when we took a trip, my husband and I, to Blue Ridge, Georgia, and we went on a hike, and we brought home a couple of rocks, and they go with the color scheme. So there's that. And then down here, we're adding some stone element and more glass, and there's my color that I was talking about. We actually made this sphere and added lights inside the glass base. And the picture in the back is a picture of Jesus that hung on my mother-in-law's wall. My arms are getting tired, so it's starting to shake a little bit. This picture actually hung on my mother-in-law's wall my husband's entire life, and when she passed, that is what he wanted. So tip number 4 is mixing highs and lows. And at first, when I kept watching the Homeworthy channel, they mentioned this a lot while they were doing their tours. I didn't fully understand exactly what they were talking about, but then I got it. What it is they mix high-end items with lower-end items. For example, they might take an IKEA bookcase, but then trim it out with molding, and it makes it look high-end. And then they might put more high-end or higher-priced items on that shelf. Now, their scale is slightly different than mine, but they might add a thrifted item with new items as well. For example, I picked up this vintage lantern, and it was $2, okay? And my newer high-end item is from HomeGoods, which was $16.99. So see, my scale is just slightly different than where theirs may have been, but the mixture of the two are going to create that character. So I originally had real Forsythia in this, what this is called, stems in this vase, but they died, and I wanted to get some fake ones anyways. But something that helped me with getting the fake ones, or the real ones, I actually got them at Trader Joe's, and I just wasn't by there again to get new ones, so I picked up these fake ones. But something that I noticed is that they're not, see how all of these are all even? That's not how they grow. They kind of grow, you know, some of them kind of wonky out, some of them are shorter, and some of them are longer. So that's what we're gonna try to create. The mantle. So as I said in the beginning, here's the new HomeGoods item. We have a vintage window frame that I've had forever and ever. This is a picture that we picked up on our first cruise. We went to the Bahamas, and in those little markets, we picked up one of those. And then this mirror, I don't know, in my travels of having vintage furniture and things, we picked up this mirror. I love it. I think it's I think it's beautiful. I love the age in the patina. And then counterparted with the new frame that kind of has the gold accents. And then this is a newer vase from Home Goods. Thrifted books. So this is a new vase from Home Goods, but I've had it forever. Again, I shop my home. And then these are the books from the thrift store. And then this is actually a little brass cauldron type thing that I picked up a while ago. And then some succulents that were from Michael's or somewhere, I think. Mixture of Michael's and Dollar Tree, I think. Tip number 5 is adding a mixture of mediums. You want to add a mixture of natural type mediums and man-made mediums. What I mean by that is glass and brass and other metals would be man-made. Bamboo, and I know they're faux stems, but it's a natural inspiration that we're adding. So we're adding wood tones, we're adding brass tones, what that's going to do is your natural elements are going to add that warmth and the softness, and then the brass and the plastic and the glass, that's going to add those sharper, cleaner images. So it's not perfect, and if you notice where the books are, it's missing a little something. There needs to be something there. What gives that stone look, because it mutes the colors out, and it can't pour too much paint on there, and I have the paint sitting there, so I might as well just keep going until I really feel that it looks right. Now we're just gonna let it sit overnight and let it dry. So here's that element of stone that we created in a little how-to. We're just gonna add that right up here. Place the bowl on the opposite side so we have that symmetry. entered. Ivy Lane Interiors hosted a challenge, and the only rules there was you had 2 weeks to complete it, and the theme had to be romance core. So I had a lingerie chest that I transformed, so you're gonna want to see that because I really, really had a lot of fun with that one. So subscribe, hit that notification bell so you know when the next video comes out.